So the Florida State run has not been pretty since 2017 at 7-6, 5-7, and of course then 6-7 with a bowl loss to Arizona State. And if anybody's going to point to one positional group to lay the blame, there's several. But let's start with the offensive line. We got Jason Parker on the line. Join us each week at 7 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday nights. Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern time for our Florida State Seminoles live show. Jason, how are we doing this afternoon?
I mean, you just brought the positivity with that introduction right there, talking about the god-awful offensive line for Florida State. And it's been a problem not just the last 3 seasons, obviously the records indicate, but you could even go back to the 2016 season under Rick Trickett. Yeah, that team finished 10-3, but that offensive line was god-awful. And the fact that DeAndre Francois survived that season with all the sacks he took is kind of a testament to him. But yeah, the offensive line has been let's see, what's a proper word? Atrocious, pitiful, disgusting, despicable. I think any of those will work.
Yeah, it seems like you don't even need to be that much in tune to Florida State football, and that's just pretty much a given across the country now that people bring up Florida State football, and it's like, yeah, well, first of all, they can't block, and that's been a problem even when going back to an Orange Bowl winning season. DeAndre Francois got himself about killed 8 times or so.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of the things where you wonder where it came from, because Florida State, even going back into the dynasty era, even during the era of what fans like to call the lost decade, and then during the 2013 title season, they always hadn't been known for having a solid offensive line, a solid offensive line group, solid offensive line coaching, and then it's almost like it just hit a wall. Right after that Peach Bowl loss to Houston to end the 2015 season, it's almost just like, bam. It just stopped. And I, honest to God, even as a diehard Florida State alumni, fan, supporter, booster, and media member, I could not tell you what happened. So I guess the motto for 2020 is there's nowhere to go but up. I guess that's where we're going to go with that group.
Let's go with that. Do we have an idea of, so in a situation like this, boy, there are young players, there are 2020 players that are early enrollees, and even guys that won't hit the practice field until August, that it will be open audition. Hey, we have spots open and we need to shore this thing up. So there's got to be so many names in the mix.
Well, Alex Atkins, who's the new offensive line coach after the 1-year stint of Randy Clements, he has his work cut out for him. The good news, I guess you could say, for him at this point is that he does have a lot of talent coming back. And as much as we ripped the unit, we ripped how they played and whatnot, there is talent there. The biggest name as far as seniority would be Bavion Johnson, who's a redshirt senior from the Lakeland area. The knock on him is there are plenty of times where he got ran over, but he is the what I like to use, and if James Coleman was here, he would appreciate this analogy. It's the Chris Riss rule. When Bavion Johnson is on his game, he is amazing. When he is bad, he is bad. So I think for Coach Atkins, for the offensive line group, as Bavion Johnson goes, that's how the unit is going to go, because he is going to be the leader of that group. Now, as far as the rest of the line goes, 2 names from the South Florida area. You have Maurice Smith, who is a redshirt freshman from Miami Central. You have Dante Lucas, who is a sophomore, who also from Miami Central, who, when they played well, Dante Lucas last season came in with a lot of high hopes. He came in from IMG Academy, and he came with high hopes, but he could not stay healthy over the course of the 2019 season. So if he is healthy, if he can return, that's going to be one of the interesting players. Another guy who's also from down here in the South Florida area is a grad transfer from FIU, Devontae Taylor. He's originally from the Tampa area, just north of Tampa, from a town called Trinity, Florida, but he did play at FIU. He is going to add size, 6'4", 308. He's going to be someone who I think, a lot like Ryan Roberts did when he transferred in from Northern Illinois. As the season goes on, I think Devontae Taylor could be somebody you will see in the starting lineup for Florida State against West Virginia. From there, another big name that we're going to talk about over the course of spring football is a guy by the name of Anthony Baselli, obviously the son of the legendary Jacksonville Jaguars offensive lineman Tony Baselli. He left the team, Andrew Baselli. He left the team, he came back. The question is going to be new coaching staff, both in Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins. Can Baselli come back to the form that we expected from him when he initially did sign with FSU. If he can, I think FSU could be in decent shape.
With currently no NBA, NHL, or Major League Baseball, you might think there's nothing to bet on. Well, you'd be wrong. BetOnline still has hundreds of places to wager, from their online casino to poker and blackjack, all open 24 hours a day and all online. Sports aren't totally done. There's still mixed martial arts, golf, esports, XFL, and many more. And hey, what about American Idol? The elections, the spelling bee, and even the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. Be sure to use promo code CLNS50. That's CLNS50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your very first deposit. BetOnline, your full access wagering solution.
I'm naming a lot of names. The thing is, none of them really stand out. None of them are, guys that you could really say right now. Could I say that there's 5 guys that I trust as the line? No, I don't. After spring football, could that change? Absolutely. But at this point right now, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's going to be a free-for-all to find 5 starters who Florida State can trust come that West Virginia game.
And Jason, for a program of this magnitude, this may not necessarily be the case with a lot of them, with a couple of, I don't want to call them marginal prospects, but not at a top 10 level prospect in the 2020 class. But these guys may have legitimate shots at making the team. And they're not early enrollees that I'm looking at here with Robert Scott, offensive tackle, 39th rated at his position out of Arkansas, and Thomas Schrader, the 14th rated center. This is the 247 composite. These kids may, again, these aren't even the early enrollees that are going to have the advantage of the spring session. They're going to get the individual workouts in starting in June, and then they're going to hit the practice field in August, and they may vie for positions, at least playing time.
And Florida State has right now on their roster entering the spring, they have 15 offensive linemen. So there's going to be guys who can play, can show experience. Some of the other names, guys like Zane Herring, who's from the Madison County area. You have Chaz Neal, who's from the Zephyr Hills area. Mike Arnold, also from Winter Haven in Central Florida. You have Jay Williams, who came in as a Harrowwood Junior College guy. And then last season, you have Darius Washington from the Pensacola area. So they have guys. The question just goes back to, like I said, can you find 5 guys that right now, at this point, can be bona fide starters when Florida State takes the field against West Virginia? Obviously not. Obviously, we have 6 months to go with spring practice starting on March 7th. So I think that's going to be the biggest question, is which one of these guys over the month, close to a month and a half of spring football, can come out on top? Can Alex Atkins, the offensive line coach, can Mike Norvell, can Kenny Dillingham, the offensive coordinator, can they find 5 guys who you could say, these are the 5 guys I trust to start for the Seminoles come that West Virginia game? And right now, I can't find 5 guys. I can find a couple, but I can't tell you 5 guys I trust above anyone else.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with Jason Parker on the line every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Join us live for the discussion that we do on Florida State football with Logan Robinson every Tuesday night. So you join the chat, you bring your comments and discussion and debate, and we respond to you.
And we bring my spear. The spear here.
And you get the spear. For no other reason, come to see the spear in all its glory. And it's even a more awesome figure on Tuesday night.
If I could light it, I would, but I think just for safety reasons, we're going to keep it unlit.
Let's keep that under wraps.
Okay.
Don't know how quickly any of us could get to you if something would go down.
The Broward County Fire Department's okay, so they would get here in time, but let's just for safety purposes, we'll keep it unlit.
I'm going to make a final assessment, Jason, on the offensive line condition, not these particular players, but just kind of the condition over the past 4 or 5 years. And you tell me how close I am to this. So this program in general has not recruited to the level of its heyday, of course, but it is still recruited rather well in the 10 to 20 range nationally over the past 4 to 5 years. The offensive line recruiting has not been helping that ranking of 10 to 20. It's been a step back from the other units, but it's still been at the level that you would think that they would be fielding a capable offensive line. And when you talk offensive line, you're talking waves of players. You're not talking about, this cornerback was a 4-star and he didn't pan out. We're talking about waves of players. So that speaks to lack of coaching and development.
I would agree with that to an extent. I think it also goes back to where they recruited. One of the big areas that Bobby Bowden recruited during the heyday was he recruited his offensive linemen, from the backwoods of Georgia, from North Florida. He recruited big boys. I think I think it goes back to more how the game has changed. The game changes to more of a speed game, more of a the RPO style of football. And I think some of it does fall under the end of the Jimbo Fisher era, and I think the Rick Trickett era, where I feel like they just gave up. I feel like they just gave up on recruiting, especially towards 2016, 2017, when they kind of just said, all right, we're out the door soon, so, whatever. It's FSU's problem. And I don't think Willie Taggart, and I think under his two offensive linemen, under Greg Fry in 2018 and under Randy Clements in 2019, I don't think they adequately tried to pick up the pieces. So that's where I think Alex Atkins is against it at this point. And I think that's going to be the biggest question is the biggest issue is it doesn't need to go from 0 to 100, but there needs to be 0 to 20, 0 to 25, just some progress. Save the quarterbacks. Let's have a healthy quarterback all through the 2020 season. I think that's what FSU wants at this point. If that can happen, I think there's that progress. I think that's what we need to see with this group is because it was rock bottom at points over the last 4 seasons under the end of the Fisher era and during the 21 games of Willie Taggart. So I think that if there's any progress, that's basically what fans, what critics want is just some progress from that group. And if they can have that, I think the 2020 season could be successful.
Please like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And again, Florida State fans, or if you just love college football, we've got fans from all factions out there joining us every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Jason, we appreciate it.